Every year, more than 2 trillion liters of gasoline are consumed worldwide. It is the most used fuel in history. It moves millions of cars, powers gigantic trucks, and keeps all the mega factories that build the modern world running. But have you ever wondered how it is actually produced? How can a thick, dark, and impurity-filled liquid like crude oil give life to all our vehicles? Well, today we will travel directly to Texas, United States, home to one of the most gigantic oil refineries on the planet. A place where, every hour, more than 1 million liters of crude oil are processed and transformed until they become the gasoline we use every day. So get ready, because you are about to discover how the fuel that moves the world is massively manufactured. Let's begin. Step number 1. Extraction of crude oil. Everything begins several kilometers beneath the Earth's surface, where huge reserves of crude oil are hidden, a thick and dark liquid known as black gold. This oil was formed millions of years ago from the remains of marine plants and animals that were buried under tons of sand and rock. Over time, heat and pressure transformed them into the fuel that moves the planet today. In fact, every single drop of gasoline that enters your car could be older than the dinosaurs themselves. Reaching it is one of the most extreme industrial challenges on the planet. Oil companies deploy gigantic drilling rigs, enormous structures capable of excavating more than 5,000 meters downwards, passing through very hard layers of the subsoil. When they finally reach the oil reserve, the heart of the entire operation goes into action: high-pressure pumping systems. These colossal machines suck the crude oil from the depths and push it toward the surface through reinforced pipes capable of withstanding the extreme temperatures and brutal pressure of the depths. A single well can extract up to 1,000 barrels of oil per day, enough to produce more than 70,000 liters of gasoline, or what is the same, fill the tank of more than 1,500 cars. Once extracted, the oil can follow 2 routes. In some cases, it is stored in gigantic tanks and then travels in huge tanker ships that cross entire oceans until they reach thousands of refineries distributed around the world. But in the most advanced oil fields, the crude oil travels directly through pipelines, special pipes that travel thousands of kilometers until they reach the nearest refinery. And it is precisely there that its authentic transformation begins, converting this dark and impure liquid into the most used fuel in the world. Step number 2. Arrival at the refinery and distillation. With thousands of liters of crude oil arriving at the refinery, the first great process that will completely transform it begins. The crude oil that arrives from the wells is a dense, thick liquid and loaded with impurities. Just as it comes out of the earth, it is absolutely useless for anything. To convert it into gasoline, it must first pass through a process called fractional distillation. The oil is pumped into gigantic industrial furnaces, where it is heated until it exceeds 350 degrees Celsius. At that extreme temperature, the crude oil begins to vaporize and slowly rises through the distillation tower, a colossal structure that can exceed 50 meters in height. Inside the towers, each component of the oil evaporates at a different temperature. The lightest ones rise to the top of the tower, while the heaviest ones remain at the base. At the very top, the lightest gases appear, such as liquefied gas. In the middle zone, the fraction that really interests us emerges: gasoline. And in the lower part, the heaviest compounds remain, such as diesel, kerosene, or even asphalt. When the gasoline fraction reaches its exact level, still in the form of vapor, it slowly cools until it condenses into a liquid state. At this point, it is still an unstable product, unrefined, full of compounds that would cause failures, damage, and poor performance. It is barely a crude base, very far from the clean, powerful, and safe gasoline we use in vehicles. Step number 3. Cleaning and boosting the fuel. The time has come to transform that first, still totally useless gasoline into a truly powerful fuel. The process begins with hydrodesulfurization, a chemical treatment that functions like a gigantic industrial filter. The tons of gasoline pass through special reactors where impurities such as sulfur, heavy metals, and corrosive compounds that could damage an engine or skyrocket contamination are eliminated. And here, one of the most extreme processes of the entire plant goes into action: catalytic cracking. Thousands of liters of fuel are introduced into enormous reactors where they face temperatures close to 500 degrees Celsius. The heat, along with special chemical materials, breaks the large and heavy molecules of the gasoline and transforms them into smaller, lighter, and highly combustible ones. Simply put, bad molecules are broken to create better molecules. This step is crucial because these new molecules are the ones that burn with greater force and efficiency when the engine ignites the spark. The old ones simply were not good for maximum performance. The result is a much more powerful, stable gasoline ready to withstand the demands of modern engines. But it still cannot be used. It must first be perfected to function flawlessly in any vehicle. Step number 4. Optimization for the engine. With the gasoline already clean and boosted, one of the most important steps in the entire refinery arrives, preparing this fuel for maximum performance. Here, catalytic reforming comes into play, a process whose objective is to increase the octane rating, that is, the capacity of the gasoline to withstand the internal pressure of the engine without exploding prematurely. In simple words, the higher the octane rating, the smoother, a more powerful, and more efficient your vehicle runs. To achieve this, thousands of liters of gasoline re-enter enormous industrial reactors and are subjected, once again, to extreme temperatures. Inside them, special chemical materials reorganize the fuel molecules, giving them a much more stable structure and resistant to the violent explosions that occur inside each cylinder. It is as if all those improved molecules from the previous step, previously disorganized, finally aligned like a perfectly coordinated team, prepared to extract maximum energy from every drop. When this process ends, the gasoline is already more powerful, more efficient, and much safer for modern engines. Now, yes, the fuel is almost ready, but before it can go out into the world, it needs one last final touch. Step number 5. Final blending and specialized additives. With the gasoline already refined and adjusted for maximum performance, it must now receive the compounds that will define its real behavior inside the engine. The thousands of liters of fuel enter enormous blending tanks, where they are combined with special additives that will mark the difference between a common fuel and a high-quality one. Each additive has a very specific role. For example, detergents keep the inside of the engine clean, preventing the formation of residues. Antioxidants prevent gasoline from degrading over time. Emission reducers allow compliance with the strict environmental regulations of each country. All these compounds are added with absolute precision. The operators work following exact formulas for each type of gasoline, from the most economical to the premium versions used by high-performance vehicles. And if you have ever wondered where that strong and characteristic smell of gasoline comes from, the answer is right here. Many of the volatile compounds added at this stage are responsible for that characteristic aroma, and also facilitate the engine start even in cold weather. Upon completion of the blending, the fuel is completely homogeneous, and now it has everything: power, stability, cleanliness, and internal protection for the engine. But before going out into the world, it must pass its most demanding test. Step number 6. Extreme quality control. The time has come to check if all that gasoline works exactly as it should. Not a single error is allowed here, because a minimal impurity could cause failures in millions of engines around the world. The newly produced batches are transferred directly to specialized laboratories within the refinery itself. There, technicians extract small samples and subject them to a series of tests designed to verify absolutely everything: the real octane rating, the purity of the fuel, its stability against evaporation, and its resistance to oxidation over time. But laboratory tests are not enough. Afterwards, the gasoline is introduced into real engines and subjected to extreme tests: cold starts, sudden accelerations, long hours of continuous operation, and sudden changes in load, exactly as if it were on the highway. If a single sample fails, the entire batch is stopped and reprocessed. Only when it passes every test without exception, the gasoline receives final approval and is ready to be stored and distributed throughout the planet. Step number 7. Storage and distribution to gas stations. The gasoline is officially ready to go out into the world, but before reaching your car's tank, it must still cover the last steps within the refinery. The approved batches are pumped into gigantic storage tanks that can store hundreds of thousands of liters, perfectly ordered by octane rating and quality. When the time comes to distribute it, a huge logistical operation begins. Part of the gasoline travels in specialized tanker trucks, equipped with anti-explosion systems and pressure chambers that keep the fuel stable throughout the journey. But most of it is transported through enormous networks of underground pipelines, kilometers and kilometers of hidden pipes that cross entire cities. These pipes directly connect the refinery with the regional distribution centers, and from there, with thousands of gas stations distributed throughout the country. Once the gasoline reaches a service station, it descends through underground conduits to the huge tanks buried beneath the ground, where it is ready for its final destination, the pump nozzle that will fill your car with a simple click. Finally, tell us, did you imagine this entire process? Are you one of those who enjoy the smell of gasoline? Leave us your answer in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the little bell so you don't miss the next factory tour.